beautiful souls, today's video is something that I wanted to film for the longest time because I've talked about manifestation, self-concept, scripting, subconscious rewiring, all of that on my channel for almost a year now. And I've also posted a full academic strategy video, which if you haven't watched, watch it after this, because yes, studying smart with strategies is important and essential. But here's the thing that no one tells you, is that you can know exactly how to study, you can follow every strategy almost perfectly, you can work hard, you can highlight, revise, do everything in your power and still not perform well in your exam. And that used to frustrate me so much when I was in school and university, because I felt like no matter how much I wrote or how much I memorized, my mind never felt safe going into the exam. I'd freeze, I'd panic, I'd always think that I'm not gonna get the questions that I want, I'd overthink, I'd blank out towards the end. And that's when I realized that studying is actually 20% skill and 80% your nervous system game, plus subconscious alignment, of course. So this video is your academic manifestation manual, which I wanted to do my exact way to calm your mind, reprogram your subconscious, create an identity of an academically successful human, and increase your recall, increase your memory percentage and manifest outcomes you didn't even know and didn't even think was possible. So whether your exams are in December's, your finals are coming up, you're studying for your bar exam, medical entrances, SATs, or even just a tiny internal test that feels bigger than you, this video is for you, and I'm so excited that you stumbled upon this. So let's start from the root, which is the mind. When I say your mindset affects your grades, I don't mean it in an aesthetic Tumblr way. I mean this also scientifically. Here's what research shows us, that according to Stanford University, students with a calm nervous system have a 42% higher recall during all of their exams. UCLA students show chronic stress reduces your memory by up to 30%. And get this, your brain learns 50% faster when it does feel safe. And this alone explains why students who aren't even the smartest sometimes outperform others, because their internal energy is calm, regulated, and they just don't put it on such a pedestal. It's not chaotic. So your performance isn't a reflection of your intelligence all the time. It really isn't. It's a reflection of, I want the drum roll, please, your nervous system, your beliefs, your internal identity, how you identify yourself with, and whether your brain feels safe enough to access that knowledge that you've given it. And manifestation works beautifully with academics because it targets exactly that, your subconscious and your self-concept. That's what we work on. So before we even go into the actual techniques, let me explain the psychology behind why these techniques will work and why you need them in your life. And honestly, I noticed this pattern so clearly throughout my school and high school life. Anytime that my life was calm in general, I had no boy drama, no friendship stress, no chaos at home, I performed insanely well and smoothly in all of my exams. Not because I suddenly became smarter or put in more effort, no, but because my mind was quiet with all the other things going on. My nervous system wasn't in a panic mode, so I could focus and just remember things properly and just be calm overall. And I was always the type who didn't overthink exams, I think, in general. I revised, I practiced, I did my past papers, and then I just believed that yes, I'm going to do well. I never put my exams on some huge pedestal. That's something you shouldn't do, because the moment that you add that pressure, everything will shut down. But when I stayed calm, everything flowed better for me. And then weirdly enough, luckily, actually, that calm identity always worked in my favor. I'd walk in expecting the paper to match what I had studied, and it usually did. The topics that I prepared for actually showed up. I'm not joking. The ones that I didn't care for barely appeared. And now, again, this is not a reason for you not to study certain topics, study everything, but it was just that belief that I entered with, that I'm going to ace this exam, or at least it's going to go smoothly, and it did. But on the contrary, whenever my life did feel chaotic or stressful other than studies, my performance would drop. Not because I didn't know the content, I would in fact put in more effort. I would in fact escape through my studies, but because my brain was so scattered, I wasn't able to perform. And that's when it hit me that your grades don't need to always reflect your intelligence. They reflect your internal state and your life as well. If your nervous system feels safe, your mind will perform. If it's overwhelmed, even the smartest person will at some point blank out. Another thing is that throughout my school life and even in my college, I noticed something really interesting, is that everyone around me had a completely different relationship with studying. And it had nothing to do with how smart they were. No, it was literally just the energy they approached academics as in overall with. And after watching my friends, my classmates, and even myself for years, I realized that most people usually fall into these 3 core categories. So as I explain these, I want you to think about which one resonate with you the most. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe a mix of 3, or maybe you just jump between all of these depending on the season you're in. All of that is completely normal, but truly identify which type your brain naturally goes into. Like when you read it, okay, I'm like that. That's what I do, because that's where your manifestation and your academic energy will begin from. The number 1 type, the I always mess something up student. This is the person, we all know, we all have them, or if you're that person who studies with fear and not confidence. You're not studying to do well, you're just studying to avoid disaster. Their nervous system is just always in survival mode, and they'll in fact come and freak you out as well. They make you think that you don't know anything. Before they even open the textbook, they're just like scared of the exam. You'll always hear them say things like, I'll always blank out during the exam, I can never memorize anything, I know I'll mess up, I don't know math, I don't know anything, and I don't understand why nothing sticks with me. Their brain isn't calm or open to anything. It's just tense always, because it could be for several reasons, like societal pressure, family pressure. Sometimes some families overemphasize on studies and make studies and academics such a big taboo and such a big thing in your life.
But if you do this or not, you'll die.
So it's just like it depends on how their family approaches academics as well. And when their body is in fight or flight, manifestation literally cannot land there. There's no psychological space for ease, clarity, or certainty. They may be intelligent, but their identity is wired for panic, and more often than not, they will not do well and then they'll panic more. It's just like a never-ending toxic cycle. And then the number 2 category is the I hope I pass student, and this is where I think most people are in. This is a group that's interesting. They're not really negative, but they're not confident either. They study, they do the things, but inconsistently. They show up, but they show up with doubt, and they revise, but they never fully trust their effort, and they're always leaving it up to chance. And their inner dialogue is that I'll try, I don't know, let's see, I'm not sure how this will go, we'll just go and we'll go with the flow and see. And they're just not confident. This identity then keeps them stuck in that uncertainty, and uncertainty is inconsistent results. They don't fail because they're incapable, they fail because their energy is unstable. They may do well sometimes, they may do really bad sometimes, and it's just that they're not sure where they stand. More of the unsure group. And then the number 3 is the of course I'll do well, or I'll try my best student, which is what I want for you by the end of this video. And this is not in an arrogant way where they will not study. They will put in all the efforts, but knowing that these efforts will make them do well. And this is identity, this is embodiment. These are the people who walk into an exam with calm confidence, not because they're top scorers, but because they assume that success is their default, and they've done everything they can, and they know everything. They know that it's here in their head, and they'll only ever say that I'll always figure it out, I've prepared, I know it'll go fine, I'll figure it out as we go, I know I'm fine. I don't obsess over results, I trust myself, and I trust the way I studied. So what they're doing is they don't spiral immediately, they don't panic, they don't create imaginary scenarios where they're failing in their head, because everything goes right for them. And because of their attitude, their nervous system stays regulated, and that alone gives them a massive advantage while studying and while performing. And again, this group doesn't only mean the top scorers or the super smart kids that we have in our class. This can be people like you and me who just are confident. I was the 3rd one throughout my high school. Before that, I was probably the 2nd or 1st one. And neuroscience backs this up 100%. Several peer-to-peer reviewed studies show that your internal identity determines your learning speed more than your IQ. Your outcomes aren't always based on how smart you are, they're based on your identity and your internal energy as well. So you change that identity, and you change the results. And this is the entire foundation, I think, of manifestation in academics. Okay, I'm so excited to get into the tips. Now that you've understood the psychology and you have a good base of what type of student you are, what you identify yourself with, and if you need these techniques or not, let's move into the actual techniques that I used throughout my school and university life that changed everything for me academically. And these next few techniques are the backbone of this video. If you practice them consistently, not in any order particularly, I promise they will shift your results more than you can expect. And again, these aren't typical study tips, because that's not what this video is about. This video is about something deeper and changing something internally and manifesting. If you want study tips, I have a whole video on that, which you can go and check out. That's more on like how to study and techniques. Okay, let's get into it. Technique number 1 is the cognitive priming method. I know it sounds complicated, but stick with me. This is a method that makes your brain perform better even when you're nervous. And I want to explain this technique from an angle that I feel like students rarely hear, because this isn't just visualize success or imagine your goals coming true. You've heard that before and it has become redundant now. What I want you to understand is something far deeper, that your brain performs based on what it expects and not what it knows all the time. And that single truth is the reason average students suddenly outperform smart students every exam season, which could be you or me. Cognitive priming is a psychological technique that is usually used in high-pressure professions, which are surgeons, pilots, emergency responders, athletes, people whose performance literally determines life or death, and they're trained to pre-experience an event in their mind so that when the real moment comes, their brain isn't shocked or like frightened. It doesn't go into like a fight or flight suddenly. And so going into panic, it goes into familiarity, not confidence, familiarity. And trust me, familiarity is stronger than confidence. Confidence can fluctuate, but familiarity is automatic in your brain. So when it comes to your academics, this technique is about exposing your brain through imagination, my favorite, to the exact emotional and physical sensations of performing well. And not just the end result, but the entire journey leading up to it in as much detail as you can. So that on the actual exam day, nothing feels new to your mind. Newness is what triggers anxiety. Blanking out, shaking hands, literally blanking out, shallow breathing, forgetting everything that you realized. But when your brain has mentally walked through the experience multiple times, it interprets the real exam as just like another repetition, and your brain's okay then. That's why students who rehearse success internally perform with such steadiness. It's not luck, it's neurological conditioning. So to make this work, you need to rehearse the micro details, not just the outcome. You close your eyes at night and you build the entire scene in your mind. You know your school, you probably know where you're writing the exam, you know your pen, you know your books, everything, you know all the details, right? So you close your eyes at night and you build that scene like you're directing the movie. The sound of the chairs dragging, you're dragging your chair, you're sitting, the coldness of the exam hall, the feeling of your pen gliding on the paper, the rhythm of your breathing, and like looking at the time and noticing you have enough time left, you're going good. The lightness that you feel when you turn and you see the first question and actually the question makes sense to you and it's something that is your like plus point when you studied. So you imagine the sequence exactly as you want it to unfold, not in a delusional or forced way, but in a grounded and practical way that tells your brain that this is normal, this is safe, and we can do this, and we did it. And the magic here isn't in the imagination itself, it's in the emotional imprint. Your brain records emotional states far more powerfully than thoughts. So when you rehearse this process with calmness, clarity, and a sense of stability, you're teaching your nervous system to associate exams with safety instead of survival stress. And most students, I feel like, walk into an exam convincing their body, convincing that they're in danger, which shuts down your memory recall. So with this method, you're flipping that and you're training your nervous system to treat the exam environment as familiar because you've seen it before, predictable and manageable, which allows your brain to access information with complete and utter ease. So when you do this every night, even for 5 minutes, something will shift in you. You start waking up feeling less terrified and more composed. You begin studying with the identity of someone who trusts themselves. And then when the exam day finally arrives, you walk in with that kind of quiet steadiness that other students notice, but they can't explain, and you notice. It's not arrogance, it's not fake confidence, it's just familiarity. It's your brain performing from a state of recognition instead of fear. And I'm telling you, this technique alone can raise your performance dramatically, not because you're manifesting marks, but because you're aligning your mind and your body to operate at their highest capacity. And once you experience the shift, even once, you will never study the same way again, I guarantee you. And then my next tip is the identity anchoring object, a very light-hearted but effective one, I must say, because you need to choose an object. It could be a specific pen, a bracelet, a ring, or even a hair clip that once you put on and you assign it a single purpose. You can touch it when you're studying, you can use it to study, put it on when you're studying, revising, but not when you're scrolling, when you're chilling, and when you're procrastinating, only when you're studying. What you're doing here is you're creating a subtle alter ego trigger for your brain. So every time you put that ring on or you pick that pen up, I used to do this all the time with my pencil pouch, like that was my alter ego object, your subconscious goes that, okay, now we're in focused version. We're in the focused era, right? Like we are going to focus for however long we have this object with us. It's the same way that athletes have lucky socks, musicians have a warm-up ritual, and surgeons have a specific pre-operation routine that they do. It's not superstition, it's also conditioning for your brain. It's subtle, but it's fun, and it's just romanticizing the process. So over time, this object becomes a psychological anchor that activates deeper concentration for you. Trust me, it does. Faster recall, reduced anxiety, and higher confidence overall. And your brain overall loves cues, like I said, loves familiarity. One object is consistently paired with academic success. It does become a shortcut into that identity. So now you feel like, okay, I'm in that alter ego identity. It's classic conditioning, but for academic dominance and manifestation together. So the next time you sit down to study, don't rely on motivation alone. Pick up an object and let your subconscious switch on your high performance student identity automatically. And trust me, you will. Okay, and my next tip is the exam day self-concept recording. Such a fun one again. This technique is, I think, really powerful because you're using your own voice to reprogram your subconscious, and your subconscious will listen to your own voice the most. I want you to record like a 1-minute voiceover and a voice note as if it's your day that your results came out and you've already achieved the grade that you want. Speak to yourself with like a calm confidence, almost like a wiser version of you that's guiding the present one, saying like, okay, hey, breathe. You did it. You were so stressed back then and you had no idea how capable you were and how smart you were, but you are. I'm so proud of you. You achieved this grade, and give a specific number. How focused, how disciplined are you and aligned? Everything worked out better than you imagined. You need to feel like you did it. And I know you know how that feels because you want that thing so badly. So feel like you passed that exam. Whatever you went through, no one cares. It was hard. I know. You passed it. So say it with that like conviction. And then listen to this every night before you sleep. You have time to watch reels. You can listen to a 1-minute voiceover of yourself. Your subconscious is the most impressionable when you're drifting off to sleep. So hearing your own voice from a successful future version of you who's happy, who knows she did it, who's proud of herself, it literally tells your brain that this outcome is already real and we're just catching up to it. Again, a classic example of manifestation and identity shifting, quantum leaping, whatever you want to say. And that expectation alone changes how you study then. You'll be so much more motivated to study because you know like that version, she's just right here. And I'm telling you, that expectation alone will change how you study, will change how you retain your information, how you walk into your exam, and with familiarity instead of fear, which is what I want for you. At the end of the day, I want you to remember something really, really important is that your grades are not a reflection of your intelligence. They're a reflection of the identity that you operate from. Because if you keep telling yourself that you're bad at math, your brain will literally filter the world to prove that belief right, which is again the core of identity building. If you keep saying that I always mess up, your nervous system will show up to the exam already in panic mode. I don't think you understand how important this is. If you believe that I'm not the type to get good grades, your subconscious mind will quietly sabotage your effort because it's simply trying to keep your identity consistent. But the moment that you shift that identity, even just slightly, everything will change. When you start telling yourself that I'm capable, I'm not bad at math, I just need to practice math a little more, I learn quickly and I always figure things out, you will figure things out. Or that I'm the kind of student who surprises myself, who knows what's going to come into the exam, who knows how to attempt the exam. Your brain responds and your nervous system will calm down. I'm telling you, your memory will open up, your recall gets sharper, and suddenly studying doesn't feel like a battle, it just feels like alignment. And my next tip links to that is that you have to romanticize this process of studying. Watch your favorite TV show, think you're that character, whatever it is that makes you romanticize the process of studying. Light a candle up and start a YouTube channel, like Study With Me for all I care. You may go viral and earn money while you study. Get up at 5 a.m. and study before the world wakes up. There's something so empowering in that. You just have to overall romanticize the process of studying and you'll have fun with it. This is why manifestation overall and academics work so beautifully together. It's not magic, it's you finally treating your brain like an ally instead of an enemy. So I just want to leave you with this, that you're not bad at any subject. You're just not familiar with it yet. And and you just have to get familiar with that. You're not someone who fails, you're someone who hasn't stepped into that full power, and they're going to after this video, after they romanticize the process of studying and completely collapse timelines with their future version. You're not stupid, you're not slow. Please stop saying that to yourself. You are human and your brain is designed to learn, adapt, and then grow faster than you even realize. Give yourself that fair chance, give yourself a fresh identity, and give yourself permission to become the student that you secretly know you can be. Everyone can be the A-star student, because once your identity shifts, your results won't stand a chance. You'll rise, you'll surprise yourself and others, you'll outperform every expectation, I'm telling you, even your own. And one day you look back at this exact moment and think, okay, wow, that was the day that I started really romanticizing and manifesting this whole process, this whole academic process that we put so much pressure on nowadays. So if you have any exam coming up, understand this, do these, shift your identity, you've got this. It's not rocket science, you can do it. Your academic glow up starts from this very moment. I'll see you in the next one, and good luck until then.